Tonight, Southern Nevada health leaders are awaiting results from the CDC on a possible coronavirus case in our state. We are tracking the latest developments with team coverage.
And as more caution is taken over spreading diseases, how preventative measures could impact our local economy.
We're also talking with a local doctor on what this possible case means for the community and how to keep the balance between caution and panic.
Getting very close to reaching the 80s again, but it's not going to last. We'll have all the details in your most accurate forecast.
Now, live, this is 8 News Now at 6.
Nevada's first presumed coronavirus case is in Clark County. Thank you for joining us for this special edition at 6 p.m. on the coronavirus. I'm Kirsten Joyce.
And I'm Denise Valdez. The Southern Nevada Health District confirmed a man in his 50s did test presumptively positive just last night. Now, we do know that he's a veteran who recently returned from Texas along with Washington State. Kristen Drummond shares the latest on this developing case.
We're hoping for the best outcome for this patient.
Doctors reveal a likely coronavirus case in Clark County. A veteran with an underlying medical condition presumptively tested positive. Health officials are now waiting for confirmatory results from the Centers for Disease Control.
It should take somewhere between 24 to 48 hours.
In the meantime, the man remains in isolation at the VA hospital in North Las Vegas. Doctors say his primary symptoms are respiratory related.
What we know is that this person started with respiratory symptoms, and that was the reason he went to the hospital.
The health district says he traveled by plane to Texas and Washington State in the last 2 weeks, but did not seem sick. Health investigators are continuing to learn his recent whereabouts and possible close contacts.
All we know right now is that the history of local travel within the different states. We haven't been able to get further than that as today.
The health district revealing the man does have a child in a school here.
The child is asymptomatic. We already gave them instruction. It's not going to school. We are working very closely with the school district on this, sharing information, and they already are aware of that.
Multiple sources tell 8 News Now that the child attends a charter school. The Clark County School District sent this letter to parents this afternoon. It says there are no confirmed cases in the district and CCSD is working closely with health officials. Reporting outside the Southern Nevada Health District, Kristen Drummond, 8 News Now.
All right, so as you heard in Kristen's report, the Southern Nevada Health District is releasing just limited information right now.
The I-Team's Vanessa Murphy has been trying to find out more about what wasn't revealed. Vanessa, what can you tell us?
Well, as we reported, the Southern Nevada Health District tells us the patient has a child who is not showing symptoms but is being kept home from school just in case, and sources say the child attends a charter school. Now, we reached out to the charter school authority. So far, they are not releasing which school the child attends, whether the school is being sanitized, and whether students, parents, and staff are being notified. But the Executive Director sent me this statement, which reads in part, currently there are no confirmed cases among SPCSA-sponsored charter schools. We understand that any individual who may have had contact with the identified presumptive case is subject to monitoring by health authorities. Now, as we mentioned, the patient is a man in his 50s who recently traveled to Washington State and Texas. So we reached out to airlines. A couple referred us to the CDC. We're waiting for a response from the agency. We've also learned it is protocol for the CDC to reach out to the airlines the patient may have traveled on for a list of passengers and employees so they can be contacted. And the health district also tells us they are working to find out where the patient with the presumptive positive test may have visited throughout the valley to pinpoint possible exposure. Now, just for comparison, for a measles case last summer, the health district released a detailed list of locations, that list is right here, that patient has visited. As of about 5 p.m. today, a spokeswoman told me no new information was available, but we are working on it.
Thank you so very much, Vanessa. Out of an abundance of caution, the Clark County School District is canceling all out-of-state and international student travel effective immediately until further notice. District leadership will work with individual schools to determine potential options for rescheduling. More than 3,000 passengers being asked to stay in their rooms on a cruise ship which is off the coast of California. They won't let it dock. They've got to wait for coronavirus test results, regardless of whether they were one of the fewer than 100 passengers who were tested.
So there was a man who was on that ship. He's died from the coronavirus, and this is now the first death outside of Washington state, which already has 10 fatalities. The federal government is investigating what happened at the nursing home just outside of Seattle that is the epicenter of the outbreak there. New York City announced 2 more cases this morning, a man in his 40s and a woman in her 80s. Now, neither has a connection to travel nor any other individual who has the virus. 19 states in total now do have confirmed cases. Now, earlier today, Colorado health officials also announced its first presumptive case of the coronavirus. Meantime, the VA Southern Nevada healthcare system confirmed the case under investigation is at our local VA hospital.
And that is where we find 8 News Now reporter Joe Moeller with what we know so far. Joe.
Well, we know that the veteran is in airborne isolation and is being taken care of by a team trained for this specific situation. Now, in a press release, the VA explained that other patients here at the hospital and the staff are still at a very low risk of getting this virus. Now, the veteran is being taken care of by that trained staff who have been trained on the latest CDC guidelines. The VA is screening veterans and staff who present symptoms of fever, cough, and shortness of breath who meet the CDC criteria for evaluation of this virus. The local lab just got the testing kits for this virus 1 week ago. We learned that they are able to test the patient and get results in hours.
The preliminary testing that we're able to do at our local public health laboratory from the time that it starts takes roughly between, I would say, somewhere between 5 to 10 hours, so a half day to a full day.
The VA stated individuals known to be at risk for this virus are immediately isolated to prevent potential spread to others. The VA representative also told me within the past few hours that they are stepping up their screening protocols starting tomorrow, so that should be a big change here at the hospital. We also did speak to some people outside of the hospital who are here to visit patients. They said they are a little concerned about this, but they are pretty confident that the hospital here will take all the precautions that they need to. Reporting live in North Las Vegas, Joe Mueller, 8 News Now.
All right, Joe, so let's just remind our viewers the symptoms of coronavirus include fever, cough, and shortness of breath. This is a respiratory condition. The Southern Nevada Health District is urging everyone just to take those everyday preventative actions to avoid being exposed to the virus. That includes washing your hands often with soap and warm water for at least 20 seconds. A guideline here, sing happy birthday twice, and that's about 20 seconds under your hands under the sink. Avoid touching your eyes, your nose, your mouth with unwashed hands. Stay home if you're sick or you're becoming sick, and use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer that contains at least 60% alcohol.
And if you feel you need to consult a physician, always call your primary doctor first. Be prepared to answer questions about your symptoms, your travel history, your risk of exposure to the virus. Don't rush to the ER in person.
We also will encourage our community to avoid going to the emergency room departments because of respiratory symptoms. If they have a healthcare provider in the community that could take care of that. We don't think that going to the emergency department for a fever or cough is actually a good reason to do that.
And if you don't have a local primary doctor, get a hold of a doctor's office in the community and call them to ask questions.
So as we mentioned a moment ago, the health district has confirmed that this man recently traveled from Washington and Texas to Las Vegas.
They do not have a timeline on when that occurred. 8 News Now reporter Kate Houston live at McCarran Airport with what they are saying about this possible case. Kate?
Yes, Kirsten, Denise, McCarran officials say that they are closely monitoring the coronavirus in our area with the health district and the CDC. Today, they say that they don't have any information on the details of the patient's travel to Las Vegas. Now, at this time, the airport has not been advised that it needs to do any sort of coronavirus screening here. In a statement today, it says that the custodial staff is using hospital-grade disinfectant on all high-touch surfaces. That includes things like kiosks, escalators, and door handles. Now, while McCarran does this during every flu season, it has increased how often it disinfects because of coronavirus. I spoke to some passengers about whether or not this concerns them, and their reactions were mixed.
know that we're in the age group that is more at risk than some other age groups, but just wash, and just do the things that we're told.
Now I'm going to play with my gloves on when I go to the casino and wear my mask 24/7.
The airport says that the disinfectant it's using is recommended by the CDC to combat coronavirus, and it's being applied in the highest concentration to have the best impact. Now, right now, McCarran Airport is encouraging travelers to wash their hands thoroughly and often throughout the day and to avoid touching their face. Reporting live from McCarran Airport, Kate Houston, 8 News Now.
Thank you, Kate. Another big concern, the coronavirus's impact on our local economy.
So it's really no secret that our city relies a lot on tourism. So a lot of people are certainly concerned as conventions and some other large meetings continue to cancel their plans. Sasha Loftus spoke with an economic expert, and she joins us now with the latest now from the Strip. Sasha?
Well, good evening, Kirsten. We definitely have seen a lot of cancellations of conventions and events over the last week, affecting the Las Vegas Strip and really the whole valley. So the big concern here is how will this affect our local economy that obviously heavily relies on tourism? Now, several Las Vegas events have either canceled or decided to video stream their conventions over those coronavirus fears. This includes Atmosphere 2020, the NXT Global Summit, the Atlassian Summit 2020, and the Adobe Summit. Since each was set to bring tens of thousands of people right here to our valley, we spoke to an economic expert, and he said while none of this is a good sign, he said people shouldn't be too concerned just yet.
If tourism drops off, if conventions are canceled and people don't come, the hotels are not going to need as many employees, and people are going to get laid off or reduced work hours. So it's not a good sign for the immediate future. But we're not there yet.
Now, Stephen Miller also said while Las Vegas could lose a lot of overseas visitors over this, we could actually see more U.S. travelers because people are more wary of leaving the country for vacation, so they might come to Las Vegas instead. Now, I also spoke to him about concerns over local business revenue and those who work in the hospitality industry. He said this could pose a risk to them in the long term if any economic downturn were to continue for 3 months or more. So again, we're just not there yet. For now, reporting live on the Las Vegas Strip, Sasha Loftus, 8 News Now.
And thank you, Sasha. Well, you've certainly seen some empty shelves at local stores like Walmart and Costco. The Retail Association of Nevada says that's a result of the anxiety among customers, the temporary shortages due to shoppers simply buying too much at once. As cases of the coronavirus surge around the globe, analysts forecast a mild but broad disruption in the retail industry.
The coronavirus doesn't, have a preference for which factory workers it's, giving the flu. So I don't think there's a sector that you can narrow down to. If you want to get geographic, you could look at, certain parts of China that have been more hit.
Products that are selling out fast: hand sanitizer and face masks. Our coronavirus special continues on the other side of the break. Up next, the best choice for protecting your health.
As more people decide to equip themselves with hand sanitizer, we are breaking down which kind really works the best. Still ahead here on 8 News Now at 6.
You're watching the Valley's news leader with Kirsten Joyce, Denise Valdez, Ted Florendo, and Chris Matthews. This is 8 News Now at 6.
So as we have been reporting, stores are running low, some of them running out of products like hand sanitizer as people take precautions against the coronavirus.
8 News Now reporter Kate Houston explains if you can get your hands on them, which kind is the most effective.
Mountain View Hospital has these hand sanitizer stations placed outside patient and staff entrances as an extra safety precaution against the coronavirus.
I feel like we're well prepared.
Dr. Clarence Dunnigan says there's no hand sanitizer that's more effective than others when it comes to preventing the coronavirus.
I think any alcohol-based hand sanitizer is effective.
The CDC says that a hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol will help prevent the coronavirus. With that said, it should only be used if soap and water are not available.
If there's any soiling on your hand, if you come into contact, obviously if you had any, dirt or grit or anything on your hands, then regular soap and water is needed to get any of that off.
It's not only your hands that need to be sanitized, but what they're touching throughout the day as well.
If you're in any kind of common use area, if you're at the grocery store and using a grocery cart, you want to wipe that down and apply it to your hands.
Kate Houston, 8 News Now.
And the public should only use commercial-made hand sanitizer because it's been tested.
Yeah, there were some reports of people saying, oh, I can just use like some, vodka or tequila or something that if I really needed to wash my hands. It's like, no, that's not tested, so don't try that. Then plus, you might get in trouble if you go to work and people are like, yeah, what's that?
This is Las Vegas, so I can see why they probably asked that. But yeah, not gonna work.
No.
Another gorgeous day today. I mean,
Sure
mid
was.
70s, beautiful sky. We had some cloud cover, but still very comfortable outside, and that's not going away tonight. So we have a nice comfortable evening too. Not going to cool down too much. 75 degrees, our official high for the day today. 7 above average. Should 68, 50 again our morning start. That wasn't too bad either. Right now, Summerlin 65, the Lake 73, 71 downtown, the east side also in those mid 70s, southeast sections of the Valley, Green Valley 75, 68, Henderson, Blue Diamond Decatur 73 degrees, and 68 for Seven Hills. Also Anthem at this 6 o'clock hour. 72 currently for Pahrump, Boulder City 64. Checking in right now, Laughlin. You're currently at 73 degrees. Meanwhile, clouds coming in from the southwest. Not too bad, though. These are high, thin clouds. But we're eyeing this first system right now. It's out in the Pacific. That's going to impact us as early as, I'd say, Friday night, certainly Saturday, in the form of wind. Okay, so first, our wind profile for Saturday will be gusty, up to 35 in some locales. And then we'll see those breezy winds around Sunday and also Monday, too, before they start to ease off later on in the week. But the thing that we're really watching is the next system behind that. That's going to bring us some more beneficial rain, which we'll get to in a bit. But otherwise, tomorrow, another excellent day with temperatures in the high 70s, very comfortable. Yes, we'll have partly sunny skies. No big hazards at all expected for tomorrow. Temperatures will reach in those 80s in some neighborhoods, especially on the east side, and also the southeast sections of the valley, which we'll show you in just a bit. 53 degrees overnight, partly cloudy skies. It'll remain cool and calm tomorrow. Temperatures, again, going to be 10 degrees above where we should be. 78 our high for tomorrow. Sun and clouds, nice and mild again. Light wind expected for tomorrow. Some neighborhoods, like we talked about, will touch in those 80s, like we said. Sunrise Manor, Green Valley at 80, possibly Nellis 77 for North Las Vegas, along with the lakes and Mountain's Edge, 76 up there in Aliante. St. Rose Parkway and Anthem, maybe in the mid 70s for you. 76 also for Pahrump, and also Boulder City, close to 80 for Mesquite. Certainly 80s for Laughlin, 84 for you, and almost 90 for Death Valley tomorrow afternoon. So here's your 7-day setup. Temperatures will drop this weekend with that first system I pinpointed out to you. It will be breezy, yes, and then next week, oh yeah, you're going to need the boots, the rain boots. Look at that. Rain Tuesday, Wednesday as well, possibly on Thursday. Make sure next week you got the windshield wipers checked and everything.
That's smart. The weather just like boom, changes.
Just like that.
Just like
and
that.
It looks really likely that we are going to get rain next week, and widespread rain, which we will be watching very closely.
Will do. Thanks, Ted.
You got it.
Thank you. The largest concentration of people this weekend in Las Vegas will be at various sporting events around town.
Got a lot of them, too. We've got 3 basketball tournaments. There's going to be a UFC fight, 2 baseball games. Sports director Chris Matthews joining us now with more on what they're saying. Chris?
You know, each of the leagues, yeah, you're right, each of the leagues has released statements regarding the coronavirus and what they're doing, from the pros all the way down to the colleges, and the tournaments going on here, they've released statements. We'll have that coming up. Also, some of the athletes are talking about the coronavirus, but they're not scared about it. You'll hear what some of the athletes are saying next right here on Channel 8. And welcome back. We are at the Thomas and Mack tonight. You know, there isn't, if you look across the country or even around the globe, really, some sporting events have been altered because of the corona concerns. Now, there isn't a larger gathering of people here in Las Vegas than at some of the sporting events that are going on around town this weekend. Of course, thousands will be attending the Mountain West basketball tournament here at the Thomas and Mack. West Coast over at the Orleans gets underway this weekend, and so does the Pac-12 women's tournament at Mandalay Bay. That is underway along with the WAC. Now, the Mountain West did release an updated statement today saying the Mountain West is aware of this morning's announcement of the first case of the COVID-19 in southern Nevada. The league office continues to collaborate with UNLV and the Thomas and Mack Center to monitor developments. The conference has regulations and bylaws which guide any type of interruption to athletic competition should it become necessary. Now, the Pac-12 also released a statement saying the priority of the conference and our member schools is the health and well-being of our student athletes, campus communities, and all those who attend Pac-12 events. At this time, our Pac-12 basketball tournaments are scheduled to take place as planned, but we will continue to monitor the situation in interest of the health and well-being of all those involved. Now, we haven't yet heard from the West Coast Conference or the WAC. They're also in town this weekend, and I'm sure they are releasing statements and very much concerned. We can also tell you that how about T-Mobile Arena? Big fights this weekend over at T-Mobile Arena, so all the fighters are in town. And that's also a big deal because we know that, of course, thousands will attend that. They'll gather for tomorrow's weigh-ins. They'll also be there on Saturday for the fights. The fighters are aware of the virus, but not changing their plans for the fight.
It doesn't affect me at all because during the break, the very first initial stage of the outbreak, that was the Chinese New Year, and I didn't get back home. I stayed in Beijing for my camp to prepare for this fight.
Come on, it's all about. No, I'm trying to be safe. It's important to not get any infection before the fight. I usually I'm a very clean person, So no. If something gonna happen, it's going to happen.
How many people died from the coronavirus so far? I don't know. But how many people died from the common cold? And I don't know, man, this is hype about corona, and even though I have my face mask on at the airport.
All right, so we'll see what happens. Of course, the Golden Knights are off on the road for 5 games, but the NHL also very aware and monitoring the situation. The Knights attract thousands of fans here in Las Vegas. The NHL releasing a statement on the COVID-19 virus saying, we are in regular communication with our clubs on the issue and having passed along best practices being recommended by the CDC and Public Health Canada medical experts. So lots of concern here among all these sporting events going on here in Las Vegas. Might mention the Mountain West tournament behind us. UNLV lost today 67-61 in the opening round for them. It was the quarterfinals. We'll have much more for you tonight at 11. And we'll be right back after this.
Live, this is 8 News Now at 6:30.
Our state's first presumed coronavirus case is in Clark County. Thank you for joining us for this special edition at 6:30 on the coronavirus. I'm Kirsten Joyce.
And I'm Brian Loftus. The Southern Nevada Health District confirming a man in his 50s tested presumptive positive last night. He is a veteran who recently returned from Texas and Washington State. Kristen Drummond shares the latest on this developing case.
We're hoping for the best outcome for this patient.
Doctors reveal a likely coronavirus case in Clark County. A veteran with an underlying medical condition presumptively tested positive. Health officials are now waiting for confirmatory results from the Centers for Disease Control.
It should take somewhere between 24 to 48 hours.
In the meantime, the man remains in isolation at the VA hospital in North Las Vegas. Doctors say his primary symptoms are respiratory related.
What we know is that this person started with respiratory symptoms, and that was the reason he went to the hospital.
The health district says he traveled by plane to Texas and Washington State in the last 2 weeks, but did not seem sick. Health investigators are continuing to learn his recent whereabouts and possible close contacts.
Right now, we have no indication of community spread. We have not identified any contacts with symptoms.
The health district revealing the man does have a child in a school here.
The child is asymptomatic. We already gave the instruction it's not going to school. We are working very closely with the school district on this, sharing information, and they already are aware of that.
Multiple sources tell 8 News Now that the child attends a charter school. The Clark County School District sent this letter to parents this afternoon. It says there are no confirmed cases in the district and CCSD is working closely with health officials. Reporting outside the Southern Nevada Health District, Kristen Drummond, 8 News Now.
Kristen, thank you. Nevada lawmakers in Washington are weighing in on the coronavirus, and their message for constituents here at home: do not panic.
We just say be smart, but don't be scared. In my district, it's the heart of Las Vegas, so we have people from all over the world who visit there. We know it's coming. There's been one case at the VA. It's now going to CDC to have it confirmed.
Smart but not scared. Representative Titus went on to detail how the local government is working to help the public by keeping them informed with weekly updates. The VA Southern Nevada healthcare system confirmed the case under investigation is at the VA hospital.
8 News Now reporter Joe Moeller is live outside the hospital in North Las Vegas with more details. Joe.
Well, we know that the veteran involved here was tested here yesterday and is in isolation this evening. In a press release, the VA explained today that patients and other staff are still at a very low risk of getting this virus here at the hospital. The veteran is being taken care of by staff who are trained on the latest CDC guidelines. The VA is screening veterans and staff who present symptoms of fever, cough, and shortness of breath who meet the CDC criteria for evaluation of this virus. People outside we spoke with say they are not too worried about this, but they will be paying attention to this case.
I'm confident that the hospital is taking every precaution, but it's still scary.
The VA also stated individuals known to be at risk for this virus are immediately isolated to prevent potential spread to others. We also did speak to someone who actually works inside of the hospital. They explained it is business as usual. Employees are taking the precautions. We also asked that person if they had stepped up any sort of screening protocol here. They said as of now they did not, but just within the past hour and a half, I did speak to another employee here at the hospital who actually came out and spoke with us and said they are going to step up their screening protocols starting tomorrow. Reporting live in North Las Vegas, Joe Moeller, 8 News Now.
Joe, thank you for that info. President Trump could sign an emergency funding bill to fight the coronavirus. That could happen as soon as tomorrow.
This after the Senate voted overwhelmingly to approve the $8.3 billion in funding. The bill includes more than $2 billion to help federal, state, and local governments prevent, prepare, and respond to the crisis. It also includes $3 billion to develop vaccines and test kits.
We had concerns, and they're going to get back to us on some of the answers. The concerns regarded not only the number of the test, but the integrity of the test.
A House committee has launched an investigation into the administration's handling of the outbreak. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi wants what she calls an after-action review to help the government be better prepared for the next public health crisis. Ben Tracy now with more on how the White House is trying to calm the fears across our nation.
As the coronavirus spreads, the president continued his efforts to calm public fears, calling into Fox News last night.
It's, a very, very small number in this country.
But he challenged an estimate from the World Health Organization this week that 3.4% of coronavirus patients worldwide have died.
I think the 3.4% is really a false number. Now, this is just my hunch, because a lot of people will have this, and it's very mild. Personally, I would say the number is way under 1%.
This month, the House Oversight Committee launched an investigation into the administration's response, including reports that there were flaws in some tests. And facing criticism for a slow rollout of test kits, President Trump blamed his predecessor.
The Obama administration made a decision on testing that turned out to be very detrimental to what we're doing.
The CDC director said that under the Obama administration, certain labs were limited in their ability to conduct tests without FDA approval. But that was intended to increase regulations that had not been updated in years. The government says it is now distributing 1.5 million coronavirus test kits, and the Centers for Disease Control is now allowing anyone with symptoms and a doctor's permission to get tested. And while the administration has fought against government expansions of healthcare, the vice president announced last night that costs of coronavirus tests will be covered by private insurance as well as Medicare and Medicaid.
Can the uninsured get tested?
But the vice president left the briefing without addressing the uninsured. Afterwards, an aide did say that the government would cover the cost for those without insurance. Now, as for the president challenging the mortality rate of the coronavirus, we should note that some medical experts do agree with him because they say we just don't know the full scale of the outbreak. Ben Tracy, CBS News, the White House.
Still more to come. Up next, we are answering the questions you may have over the possible coronavirus case here in Southern Nevada.
We are sitting down with a local doctor to break down just how serious this situation is right now and any precautions you should be taking. That interview coming right up.
You're watching 8 News Now at 6:30.
Well, with the first presumptive case of coronavirus confirmed in Southern Nevada, you may have some questions lingering about what action to potentially take. Joining me now on set is Dr. Joe Corcoran, Chief Medical Officer of HCA Healthcare. Thank you for being here, Doctor.
Happy to be here. Thanks, Brian.
Let's get right into it with those numbers being low in terms of fatality rates. You look at SARS, around 10%, MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, up to 40%. These numbers, 3% and under, even lower outside of Wuhan, China. Is there some perspective we need on this to know that, for the most part, even without a vaccine, most people, the vast majority, survive this?
Right. And Brian, you know, the fatality rates are the highest in the communities where the healthcare is the least developed or the least available to the patients. So certainly in the Las Vegas Valley, we have very little to worry about. Most people who live in Las Vegas are very low risk. But, you know, certainly the healthier you are and the younger you are, the more likely it is that you're going to get through this without any problems, even if you are infected.
Why is it children are seemingly so much better equipped to handle this?
Well, as one of my friends once told me after I suffered a fracture, medicine is a tribute to the fragility of man and the elasticity of children.
Very solid point.
Kids bounce.
Talk a little bit about how it's spread and what people can do. We keep hearing hand washing, but how specifically is it spread? Is it the droplets that are coughed out? What can we do to stop that?
So you and I were talking before the camera came live, and this is flu season, right? So we really are just focused on the same precautions that we should be having every day during every flu season. Most experts agree that, you know, this is produced and shared by a cough. It's not something that floats in the air and stays around like some of the infectious diseases. So it's not something that lingers in the air for a long time. But when someone coughs, it gets on a surface like this chair. So the next guest comes up and puts their hand on the chair, then they touch their face, they touch their mouth. That's when they're at risk.
Cleaning surfaces, cleaning hands, essential. The vaccine could potentially be up to 18 months away. Right. What can we do to raise our own immunity in addition to hand washing and wiping down surfaces? How do we make ourselves tougher, if you will, more resistant?
So one of the things that I preach to the amazing staff that are in our 3 hospitals here in Las Vegas, Sunrise, Mountain View, and Southern Hills, is we've got to take care of ourselves first. And that means eating, sleeping, all the things that your mom told you were good for you, right? So we've got to take care of ourselves and we've got to take care of each other if we're going to be able to take care of patients in the community. So really, it is about living life the way that your mom told you to.
Mom had good advice. And again, this is the first presumptive case in Southern Nevada. It is possible the test from this patient could still come back negative, correct?
It's possible, but not likely.
Okay. And also, more and more people are looking at their phones, seeing alerts of more people having coronavirus. That is also a part of having more people tested, correct?
Exactly right. Exactly right. And a lot of people aren't appreciating that. As we do more testing, we're going to find more disease. We know that the virus is in the community already. So that's why the fatality rate is so hard to calculate. How many of those people are not even going to be bothered by it? They're not going to go to the doctor, and they're sure as heck not going to end up in an emergency room.
The Chief Medical Officer of HCA Healthcare. It is great to have you here, Doctor. And again, it's good, I think, for our viewers to hear not to worry as much, to bring in a little bit of reality. We want to make sure that we're informing, not scaring you. And we love this factual reality that you brought in. So thank you, Doctor, for your time. This entire interview is going to be on 8newsnow.com, and we're going to be back in a couple minutes. Stay with us.
The 7-day forecast on 8 News Now is sponsored by the Southern Nevada Water Authority.
Coming up tomorrow morning on Good Day Las Vegas.
We've been profiling some of the Valley's most remarkable women.
Well, tomorrow we reveal which of these amazing women is being recognized with a special trip to New York.
That and more tomorrow morning on Good Day Las Vegas.
The rapid spread of the coronavirus is triggering urgent action around the world.
So far, at least 81 countries have reported cases. 95,000 people or more have been infected worldwide, and at least 3,200 of them have died. Charlie DeGatta is in Rome, where Italy's government has closed all of their schools.
That nationwide shutdown is Italy's most dramatic step yet to stop dead the spread of a virus that shows no sign of slowing down. New numbers here overnight have skyrocketed, more than 3,000 cases now, 107 dead. Expanding regions in lockdown, all major soccer matches held in empty stadiums.
You don't normally supply this.
Forget hand sanitizers and masks. At a Rome pharmacy, we even found goggles and hazmat suits for sale.
People are scared. People are worried.
Yeah, there is a situation of the people are going crazy because the situation is not explained so much.
To Iran, where in just over 2 weeks, cases have soared to more than 3,500, though there are fears the outbreak is far greater. But Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has instead accused other countries of hiding figures. In South Korea, the outbreak has forced a shortage of hospital beds in the epicenter Daegu, more than 5,700 cases, making it the second highest in the world, behind China, where the outbreak began. More than 80,000 cases, 3,000 dead, though the only country where the spread of the illness has slowed down. Now here, children may be looking forward to a couple weeks off school, but when they closed schools in Japan, they noticed that hospital staff had to stay home in order to look after their children. Charlie Daggett of CBS News, Rome.
Good to see the warmer weather making a comeback, but the only problem is the trees are blooming, and this is what's happening. Mulberry reporting very high readings already. Juniper, ash not too far behind as well. Weeds, though, absent, so these are your big culprits for all the sniffling and sneezing outside, especially with all the allergies going on and pollen now blooming. 68 degrees in Centennial Hills, 71 for North Las Vegas. We're at 70 even for Spring Valley, the east side, 73 for Sunrise Mountain. Same goes for Whitney Ranch. Henderson, you're at 67 degrees, and just a digit above that for Anthem. Mountains Edge and Rhodes Ranch both at 77. Southern Highlands currently 76 degrees for you. 67 for Prump. 64 Boulder City, Laughlin at 70, and up there in northeast Clark, Wappa, you're just shy of 70. We're seeing those 70-degree temperatures right now in Bullhead City. So what's going on? We're looking off way in the Pacific, of course. This system not going to impact us too much. We're not expecting any rain from this one, but we are going to see those gusty winds. However, behind that, on the heels of that one, is one that's going to tap into some moisture. That's going to pull it up towards the region when California on Monday. And our area, look at this, Tuesday, Futurecast shows some widespread rain here. So we'll keep our eye on this. We know we're going to get some rainfall, scattered showers left over also on Wednesday too. By Thursday, though, this all starts to exit the region. So it looks like those 2 days are our best days for a good amount of rainfall. So here's what to expect your weekend and next week. Let's break it all down for you. Saturday and Sunday, your gusts up to 25 to 35. So breezy on both of those days. Sunday, the temperatures will drop some 5 to 10 degrees from Friday. Rain is likely on Tuesday and Wednesday, and there could be some minor flooding possible. Again, we're still days away before we can actually pinpoint exactly how much rain we are going to get. But when we do, we fine-tune the forecast. We will let you know not only here on TV, but also on social media and also on our weather app. All right, here's your day planner. 53 degrees in the morning, 71 by lunchtime. Our high tomorrow, 78 degrees. Some of you will touch into those 80s for tomorrow. We're still looking at partly sunny skies for the day for tomorrow. Here's your extended forecast now. Breezy this weekend, like we talked about. Temperatures will drop a little bit, close to 70 on Sunday. And then next week, yes, you're going to need the umbrellas, especially like we said on Tuesday and Wednesday, expecting some wet weather and slick roads. That is your most accurate forecast. 8 News Now will continue after this brief break.
We have covered a lot of ground in our coronavirus coverage tonight after a presumptive case has been confirmed in a patient at the Southern Nevada VA.
The facility is now awaiting confirmation results from the CDC. In the meantime, it is important to know the symptoms of coronavirus, which include fever, cough, and shortness of breath.
Also, the Southern Nevada Health District urging everyone to take everyday preventative actions to avoid being exposed to the virus, including washing your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands.
Stay home if you're sick or becoming sick, and use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer that contains at least 60% alcohol. If you have symptoms or have been exposed to someone with symptoms, you are asked to contact your primary care physician instead of heading to the emergency room.
I don't know if we mentioned this, but just as I was saying goodbye to the doctor and another individual, we all just kind of went with fist bumps.
Yep.
You know, and it's just people doing that and taking those little steps, doing what you can to raise your immunity. But as the doctor said, be smart and don't worry too much. Just stay informed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for watching 8 News Now at 6:30.
Have a good night.